Musser. From Star Wars? Hello fellow Wanderers, my name is Ben Chalinetsky, and this is the third attempt at me making a series called Musser from Movies. The idea being that you can glean Torah ideas from the silver screen. Or it's just my Yetzer Hara coming up with excuses for me to go to the movie theater. But there are so many Torah ideas that one can see from the greatest space opera ever produced for the silver screen. No, not Star Trek, Star Wars. Yes, you know the difference. And if you don't, pretend you do. Probably one of the biggest sources for Torah ethics comes from the Mishnah known as Pirkei Avos, where we learn the ideas of happiness and well-being from our Tanaic sages. And one of the biggest ideas that I worked on growing up as a Beis Medrash and Kollel learner was the idea of controlling one's anger. Eizhu Gibor HaKovesh Es Yitzro, who is strong, someone who can conquer his own inclination. And this idea is painted clearly in Return of the Jedi, in the famous battle between Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker inside of Emperor Palpatine's throne room. Let's go ahead and take a look.
You want this, don't you? The heat is swelling in you now. Take your Jedi weapon. Use it. I am unarmed. Strike me down with it. Give in to your anger. With each passing moment, you make yourself more my servant.
You saw what the Emperor was doing, right? He was tapping into that anger. He was tapping into that fear. And these emotions so easily and readily take over our senses. In order to be truly mighty, one has to have control over oneself and not allow the baser inclinations to take over and do things that aren't so good, like wiping out an entire classroom of young Jedi Padawans. And this idea of the light and the dark side is one of the central themes of Star Wars. And the idea of controlling oneself is a central theme in the Star Wars trilogy. I mean, Yoda said it best when he was talking to a very young Anakin Skywalker.
Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering.
As our Chazal teach us, Kol kas kol Gehenim shel timbo. All anger will bring all sorts of Gehenim upon oneself. Or the idea that when someone acts out of anger, they're acting as though they were worshiping an idol. And the question you're probably wondering is, how is acting out of anger like worshiping an idol? Well, if you think about it, when someone acts out of anger, they are upset because something happened that they believed should not have happened. And so because of that, they get upset. But if someone has true faith, true emunah, that God runs and controls and designs the world, even down to the smallest blade of grass, then when something wrong does happen, they won't be angry because they realize, well, this was obviously a part of a bigger plan. And in general, we see this idea of growing or devolving in the Star Wars trilogy. Like, for example, when you look at Rey and Finn or Luke Skywalker, they go from very, very lowly positions to nobodies, a scavenger on the desert planet of Jakku, to becoming heroes, individuals that extend themselves beyond their borders and become heroes. So what Torah have you learned from Star Wars? What parallels have you seen from the wisdom of our sages and the wisdom of Yoda? Kaviyachol. You can leave your comments down below, or you can find me on Facebook and share it there at the following links. Also, here's the last Musser from movies that I did about the Karate Kid. And your feedback is invaluable to me, so please let me know how I'm doing. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Be'ezras Hashem.
I don't believe it.
That is why you fail.